This presence here right now.
Oh
So, Joe, the Peruvian prince. Hari, my toes are really cold. Should I slap your ass? I'm inappropriate.
Y'all probably haven't heard of this stage. Hello everybody, I have Joe, as she announced. I'll go ahead and talk about myself for the next 7 minutes. I'm 24 years of age. In 6 days, I will be 24 and a half exactly. And that's that's something not many people think about, is their half birthday. You know, except when you're 8, you're stoked about being 9. But I will be 24 and a half in 6 days. And you know, I think that why is that a bit of information always got to get left out? You could just, you know, I'm not going to celebrate it. In 6 days, I'm not going to go out and get wasted. Of course I would. Why would make me go do that? You know, but you know, you could add, you know, you could do it in decibels. Sound futuristic. That sounds all right. You know, like in 6 days, I'm gonna be 24.5. You know, it's like upgraded version of myself. That works out too. You know, you sound futuristic. In fact, you sound almost like, you know, each age could be a little software update of yourself. You know, a little point. Hey man, you're 0.8. I can't wait till you get that walk-in update. It's gonna be awesome. You're gonna use that pretty well. You know, around 13.5 version of yourself. We all hit that puberty update. You know, for the guys, you get a little hardware upgrade as well. You know what I'm talking about. You know, then you get 18. You get the ability to buy. You get the ability to buy cigarillos. That's necessary because like it comes in handy most times. And then, you know, 21.0, that's a big one, because you can't just buy beer. You can go have a drink. You can't go have a drink until you're 21. You can't be like, hey friend, let's go have a drink in my mom's backyard. No, you have to go to a bar. And then, you know, around 23, 24, you get the whole, you know, apathy update, you know. And then what happens, yeah, I don't really care what happens after that. So currently in my life, this whole spiel is gonna be about me. So currently I'm a lead pizza developer at a multi-million-dollar corporation. I'm doing quite well. Lots of y'all work underneath of me that are in the crowd right now.
Especially Emma underneath. Right?
I'm a virgin. What is she talking about? But yeah, so I work for the Mellow Mushroom. You know, we all know their, you know, sort of theme is, you know, smoke weed, bring your family. That's fun. You know, I've made far too many Mary Jane, or I think it's called, yeah, Mary Jane brownies for 8-year-olds. You know, so you know what I'm talking about. 'Cause that is literally a dessert name. You know, subtlety be damned. But before then, I've always worked with food. But the job previous to Mellow Mushroom, I worked at a place called Fastenal, which was a magical place. It's similar to a Home Depot, but for much larger projects like industrial suppliers and shit, not home things. We sold, you know, all sorts of construction equipment. The job was, to say the least, riveting. That's the one pun I'll make. That's the one pun I'll make for the evening.
We'll get that on the way home.
You know, it wasn't that bad. I started the job, and you know, they paid well. I went there. They allowed music. That was fine. You know, I got. You know, if I worked across from somebody, some of those dudes love to blare their music, and so I got to hear a lot of, you know, 3 Days Grace, Eminem. That's fine, whatever. But I figured out the perfect trick to that job was to just go in, just rip roaring high, and like on the good days, I didn't have to talk to a single person. I clocked in, I made it straight to my station. You know, I filled my hands with nuts or bolts, and I just went to town. And that was a good day. I had my tunes, you know, the time passed, I was paid well, whatever. And then came the day that my terribly, you know, he was short, circular, ginger, he had a goatee going on. He was my manager. He took away the music. He took from us my one joy. Because we were making too many errors. So he took from us. So it went from you know, okay, it's passing the time to, you know, even marijuana helped nothing. I would go there, and you know, after a while of working the job, you know, I didn't think about what I was doing with my hands. I was just like standing there, thinking, literally just thinking and overthinking. I've gone over every conversation I've ever had in my life. I've rethought and thought over everything, and you know, to me, I've been to prison. But I kind of feel like the prison would be like. You just kind of you just thinking. So, you know, I got to go to prison for 6 to 7 hours, Monday through Friday. And that was terrible. And even more so, my Garfield as a manager would come. There was like this little bridge that passed over all the little conveyor belts or whatever. I don't think conveyor belt is the right word, whatever. And he would go stand. It overlooked all of our stations. There was like 20 of us. And he overlooked all of our stations. He would yell things at us like, "Oh, you're going too slow. You know, you're doing 60 boxes. You should be doing 70 boxes a minute." You know, like that's not dehumanizing enough. And then he wouldn't stop after the yelling. He would yell and he would loom. There was no other word for it but loom, because he would just sit there and scowl at us. You know, and like, is that part of his manager training? They're like, dehumanize them for a little bit. You know, like you need to go stare at them angrily for upwards of 30 minutes to make sure that they know that you're not happy with them. So I don't know what that was about, but I mean, like, I didn't, you know, he was short, redheaded. I guess he was taking it out on us. But those days are gone. I mean, I'm grateful to get out of there. I actually scored a lot of neat things. You know, like for a while, I had a surplus of batteries. You know, I could swipe all sorts of stuff from there because it was very easy. You know, I had tons of batteries. I got staplers, engravers, paint pens. I mean, like, I used to get drunk and hand out batteries. I think one of my neighbors here, who I gave like a 50-pack of AAAs to one time. That shit flowed like water when I was working at Fastenal. You know, I mean, I had to fill in the gap somewhere. But for current, you know, coworkers, I do not steal from El Mushroom. My pockets are not lined with pepperonis when I leave. But you know, that job sucked. But it's past. I've forgotten all of that despair. But one thing it did teach me was the glory of taking a dump on the clock. Because, you know, I'm a person that likes to shit in their home. I'm not a fan of pooping anywhere besides, you know, my home. But that was the peak of my shift. It was like that, you know, 15 minutes, and I'm not a slow pooper, but I mean, I took 15 minutes, you know, to go sit in the stall, and this is before I ever owned a smartphone, so it was like I would stare at my brick, you know, it had nothing going on, but I mean, it was interesting enough at the time. So I would sit in that stall for 15 minutes, you know, regardless, because nobody was going to take that from me. Nobody, not that redheaded little guy. Nobody's gonna take that from me. You know, that's gone. Now, you know, I create pizzas. It's wonderful. That high school diploma is paying for itself. But besides that, you know, as I told you, this is gonna be about me. This whole set. So I mean, I'm a big fan of music. I would say that's pretty much the only hobby or interest I've ever been thorough about my entire life. Something I'm most knowledgeable about. Something I'm most knowledgeable about would be music, you know, and beer and cups, obviously. And I collect records and stuff. I'm a record collector, but I'm not, you know, I collect modern records. I feel like it's a lot more interesting to own a record than, you know, a little CD. It's you know, it's fine. You get the digital download anyways, whatever. And you know, I agree the sound quality is definitely better when you're playing it vinylly. It's analog versus digital. But you know, a lot of people collect records are called audiophiles. And you know, an audiophile is just a dude that is, you know, very into sound quality. You know, they like high fidelity sound, high quality acoustics, shit like that. But you know, you think of file, I think of file. It's just a suffix. It's just a suffix. You can use it different ways. You know, it means, you know, for hobbies, it means you're just way into something. But you know, when I think of file, I think of pedophiles. So why not go ahead and just lump those together? And you know, you can make an audiophile the same sort of creepiness. You know, what if it's some weirdo that's just like way too into music quality? You know, imagine just sitting in a room, no lights on besides his computer screen, just clicking through images of records out of their sleeve, just soundboards with hundreds of knobs. Like, oh god, that's fucking hot. Look at all this. You can adjust the tone so many different ways, man. You know, and it's got those weird porn site ads, you know, that are related to audio stuff, like, you know, barely legal bit rates. You know, like hot and ready for your ears. And I mean, it's funny when